America's best days are yet to come. That's because conservatives like you know and live the values our great country was built on. The Heritage Foundation exists to make sure your voice is heard in the D.C. swamp each day, shining the light on a bright future. The Heritage Foundation stands for your values and won't give up the fight because they know you never will. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, will be here in hour 2. But you know what? There was something that was said by this guy, Zohran Mamdani, about his aunt, or in some places it's aunt. That after 9/11, she didn't feel safe. She didn't feel safe going in the subway with her hijab. Because, you see, the people in New York City are bigots and racists. You know, it's amazing to me. We're the most beneficent, kind, forgiving people on the face of the earth. We truly are. In any other country, if an ethnic group or religious group did to that country what was done to us on 9/11, there would be a lot to answer for, wouldn't there, Mr. Producer? In fact, so beneficent are we, we're almost ridiculous. In fact, absurd. In fact, self-defeating. Qatar protected KSM, the mastermind, in 9/11. They helped him escape the FBI. And less than 2 years later, he and Saudi terrorists attacked our country, killed 3,000 of our fellow citizens. Now I understand Qatar is not only one of the greatest leaders in the Middle East, but one of the greatest leaders in the world and our dearest friend, and we don't know what we'd do without them. Same with Saudi Arabia, our new wonderful dear friends. Qatar has about 330,000 citizens. They don't really invent anything. They have a lot of slave labor there. But they have an enormous amount of natural gas. And so they're our buddies, and they've paid a lot of money to be our buddies. I mean, Capitol Hill, law firms, public officials in and out of government, the media, Islamist front groups in our country. They're very busy. Very busy. And there's Saudi Arabia. They've never apologized for 9/11. In fact, they keep the cover-up going. But they're our dear friends now, too. Israel, of course, we're supposed to hate Israel. But Qatar, wonderful. Saudi Arabia, wonderful. Zohran Mamdani was with a group of Muslims at a mosque in the Bronx. And he's very upset, you see, because his auntie was afraid of you, the American people, because she was wearing a hijab. And we know how you Americans are when it comes to immigrants and hijabs. Of course, the FBI tells us that by overwhelming amount, the greatest amount of hate crimes is against Jews. And by the way, often by Arabs and Muslims. Shh. No. Shh, don't say that. But it's true. Some of them even call themselves Palestinians. Shh, Mark. Don't. So here he is, Zohran Mamdani, telling you New Yorkers, in fact, we, the American people, what a bunch of racist bigots we were after 9/11. Of course, it was racist bigots who attacked us, but that's beside the point. Cut 4, go.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City.
Spit it out.
I want to speak to the memory of my aunt, who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
And he paused. He showed some emotion, tears. He was sort of a gentle cry. His aunt was a victim of American racism and bigotry against Muslims, even though on that day it was Islamists who slaughtered 3,000 Americans, including Muslims. But there's a little problem with this story, America. In fact, there's a big problem with this story. Ayal Yacobi, who does a wonderful job posting information. Zohran Mamdani's aunt did not stop taking the subway after 9/11. She never took it in the first place. She lived in Tanzania. She was a senior program development officer. Before that, she was a public health consultant. All in Tanzania. Nobody bothered his aunt. His aunt wasn't here. She wasn't taking the subway. Now, what about that? So in addition to being a Marxist, an Islamist, an American hater, and a Jew hater, he besmirches 9/11. Besmirches 9/11. Now, who's Mahmood Mamdani? He's Zohran's father. Zohran's father, who's a tenured faculty member, a professor at Columbia University, where he preaches his hate, his terrorism, his anti-Americanism. I want to give a hat tip to Mays, who's fantastic too, on X. All these people should be given podcasts if they're not, rather than the freak frauds and phonies out there. Cut 1, go.
America is the genesis of what we call settler colonialism. And the American model was exported all around the world. Abraham Lincoln generalized the solution of reservations. They herded American Indians into separate territories. For the Nazis, this was the inspiration. Hitler realized two things. One, that genocide was doable. It is possible to do genocide. That's what Hitler realized. Second thing Hitler realized is that you don't have to have a common citizenship. You can differentiate between people. The Nuremberg Laws were patterned after American laws. Anyway, the U.S. put Indians in reservations, The U.S. invented the model.
The U.S. invented the model. The model of what? The model for Hitler. The U.S. invented the model for Hitler by putting Indians in reservations. Putting Indians in reservations. And so Hitler got the idea that we could put Jews in concentration camps, exterminate them. America created the model. This is what he's teaching young people who don't know now north from south or east from west. This is what he's teaching them. To hate America. Hate America. Hate it. Because you see, but for America, there wouldn't have been a Hitler. There wouldn't have been concentration camps. Because America was the genesis, he says, of what we call settler colonialism. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you read American Marxism, you know that this is the position of the Islamists and the Marxists. America is responsible for fascism, for Hitler, for colonialism and imperialism. America is the genesis of racism and bigotry. White Europeans who settled the North American continent laid siege to Central and South America, took the land away from the original inhabitants. That's why there can be nothing like illegal immigration. The illegals are the white Europeans. This is what he and other Marxists and Islamists are teaching throughout academia. This is Mahmood Mamdani, Zohran's father, 3 years ago, and his mother, who's funded by Qatar, our greatest friend, one of the greatest countries in history, led by some of the greatest leaders in history, Mr. Producer. Did you know this? Who've never been asked about 9/11, who've never been asked about KSM, who've never been asked about their role. Meanwhile, the royal family and some of their inbred relatives praise Hamas to this day. They funded Hamas $1.8 billion. Not a word. Billions and billions poured into our colleges and universities to promote Marxism and Islamism. You saw it in the streets to poison our young people. Not a word. I hear Israel has a PR problem. The PR problem is Qatar. It's buying podcasters. It's buying lobbyists. It's buying politicians. It buys media outlets indirectly, spending a lot of money because of all that natural gas it has. Gee. And there's Mamdani, who, God forbid, if he gets elected, will be elected because of the overwhelming support, as the New York Post reported, from migrants. Wow. I heard Karl Rove say something today, and I don't normally quote him because I don't normally care. But he actually said something that caught my attention. I'm doing Mahmood Mamdani. Mahmood. And that is, New York City is 65% Democrat and 22% independent. By my count, Mr. Producer, that's 87% who are not Republicans but tend to vote Democrat. He's got 45% of the support in the polls. In other words, he's got nothing But because he can win in a plurality when you have multiple parties running like you do in other countries, he can slip in with a plurality of 45%. Even though the city is 87% liberal. Not exactly united behind Mr. Mamdani, are they? No, they're not. That's Mahmood Mamdani. One more time for the slow of listening. Cut one, go.
America is the genesis of what we call settler colonialism. And the American model was exported all around the world. Abraham Lincoln generalized the solution of reservations.
So here is Abraham Lincoln, who led a civil war to free the slaves. And he's a colonialist. They want to attack our most important figures, statesmen. They want you to hate them. Worse off, they want our youth to hate them. So now Abraham Lincoln, you see, was a racist. The man who literally freed the slaves. He's a racist. But Mahmood Mamdani of Uganda knows everything. And his son knows even more. Because they're not poisoned by the American system that they hate, you see. They seek to destroy it from within. And I warn these idiot Republicans, stop saying that this is okay, all Democrats will have to run on his agenda. No, it's not okay. One city at a time is not okay. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, I have a question for you. Do you believe America's best days are still ahead? With the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence coming up in less than a year, my friends at the Heritage Foundation are taking stock of the current situation, and they need your input. They've launched a survey on America's future to gauge how Americans feel right now about where we are as a nation and where we're headed in the next 250 years. You know, for decades, your American values have been under attack, but now, with President Trump's administration in office, we have an opportunity to turn the tide and usher in a new golden age for America. But the Heritage Foundation needs to hear from you. What policies do patriots like you most care about? What do you believe are the defining principles of America? What legacy do you believe we should pass on to the next generation? Please visit heritage.org/Levin today and share your feedback and help shape the future of America. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you haven't heard anything yet. This is going on in our schools and our streets, and it's going on throughout Europe. You see what's going on in the Middle East? I fear it could come to that one day. You see, this is a war on Americanism. Let's put Europe aside, Israel and the Middle East aside. This, right now, here, is a war on Americanism. It is an effort to destroy the glue that holds a diverse society together. It is an effort to destroy religious freedom and diversity, tolerance. It is an effort to destroy free speech by using free speech. I'm going to keep getting into this, folks, because one day you're going to say, what the hell happened? I'll be right back. We're coming upon the 250th birthday of the United States, and it has me thinking, what will America look like 250 years from now? My friends at the Heritage Foundation want to know what you think. What policies should America prioritize? What principles should carry us into the decades ahead? As America enters a new golden age, Heritage recognizes that this is the time to take stock and to be intentional about how we shape the future of America. And they can't do it without your input. So please go to heritage.org/LEVIN and let them know what you think is important. Without patriots like you stepping up and speaking up for what you believe in, America as we know it can't survive for another 250 years. Please go to heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/LEVIN. Take the survey on America's future future. This survey takes less than 10 minutes to complete, but it is critical for making sure that the America we pass on to future generations is an America we're proud of. Go to heritage.org/Levin today. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
He's driving the media mad. Mark Levin, call in with your outrage. 877-381-3811.
Here's Zohran Mamdani at a rally yesterday. Cut to go.
The world is changing. It's not a question of whether that change will come. It's a question of who will change it. We have an opportunity before us that few have ever received and even fewer have seized. It's the opportunity to show the world.
Whoa. Few have ever received and few have ceased, Mr. Producer? Okay, go ahead.
Yep. It is the opportunity to live up to the legacy left by those who came before.
Like who? Obviously not Abraham Lincoln. Who? Which founder do they honor? Which one? I'm just curious. What legacy is it that he's talking about? His father hates America. He hates America. And his mother hates America. They're Qatari lords. They hate America, truth be told. So the question is, and it's an important question, who is it? What legacy left by whom? Go ahead.
We do not get to determine the scale of a crisis. Our choice is how we respond.
I don't know what that means either. We do not get to determine the scale of a crisis, of course. Human beings can create crises, and often do. So, he's not even that articulate. He's a moron. Go ahead.
Let us win a city hall that works for those straining to buy groceries, not those straining to buy our democracy.
Oh, isn't that clever? Oh. You mean like the Qataris? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This guy, his family, multimillionaires. He married a woman whose family, multimillionaires. They're talking about buying our democracy. He has spent a fortune in this campaign. Tons of outside money. Go ahead.
And let us look forward to January 1st, when the hard work of governing will begin. Those in power would like to describe our policy commitments as if they are illusions that will evaporate as soon as we approach City Hall.
Okay, the guy says nothing about his policies. I mean, he throws out these slogans. He throws out generalizations about affordability, the poor, buying democracy, so forth and so on. There's no dirt under his nails. There's no tissue between his ears. There's nothing. It's preposterous. But let me tell you where he's really coming from. He hangs out with the most radical, poisonous Islamists who do promote terrorism. What's the intifada? That's terrorism. His father and the propaganda that he spews. There's a Muslim YouTuber named Shohail, and he was in Times Square this month, and Times Square was loaded with people. Loaded. With Muslims. How do I know? They're dressed as Muslims. I want you to listen to this. Cut 6, go.
We're done hiding. We're done. We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be upon, of Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the Ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, and the God of the last and final prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you hear any other faith leader, Christianity or Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever ism in this country, talk like this? Do you? It's one thing to promote your faith, to say it's the right faith, and so forth. That's not what he's saying. He's saying we're going to impose it. It needs to be in every household. They're done hiding and being tortured. Where, in America? Who's hiding and being tortured in America? This is the religion that all humanity needs to be part of. Now, you may be of a faith that believes that, and that's fine, and you do it by persuasion. You don't say that you are going to impose it and put it in every household. And I'm telling you, this is the mentality. This is why the money is pouring into this country. Not because these other countries want to be our friends. Not because these other countries need to be invested in our businesses. They're government-centric. They're media-centric. They're education-centric. It's now pouring into our K through 12 schools through radical unions, the NEA and the AFT. The unions themselves also hate the country. I said this fusion between Marxism and Islam, and now you know. I've been talking about this for years, and the word has spread. Everybody's now talking about it on radio and TV. The fusion of Marxism and Islamism. Because that's exactly what's occurring. That's why I wrote American Marxism. And what Mahmood Mamdani said earlier when I played his clip, the father of Zohran, is not a one-off. He's a chorus line of faculty, of phony scholars who push this agenda. The inspiration for Nazism is America. The inspiration for Hitler is Abraham Lincoln. Got it? And it's going to get worse before it gets better. They'll have children and grandchildren who will be indoctrinated. We're going to have others who go through our college systems who are being indoctrinated. Now it's K through 12, where these school boards are being taken over by the same Marxist-Islamists, where they're going to be indoctrinated. It's happening all over the country. And again, as I said before the break, if I hear one more damn Republican say this is okay because this means they're going to lose elections all over the country, no, it does not. You stop the poison where it starts from. It's like water. It finds a crack. What happens is you're dumbing down the American people to accepting this, to acquiescing to it. How many politicians do you hear speaking out like me? I'm serious. Very few. Very few. On the Democrat side, none. None. Hakeem Jeffries just endorsed this guy. The Democrat Party lacks strong statesmen and leaders. He just endorsed this guy. AOC's at the rally. She is the brain of a slug and the experience of nobody. No experience. Right, Sandy? Call me Sandy, she said when she went to school in Westchester. All these revolutions are started by people with money. Money. The Mamdanis, money. AOC, Westchester. Not that you all have to have money in Westchester, but they did. Right, Sandy? Castro, money. Mao, money. Lenin, money. Marx, money. Qatar, trillions. Saudi Arabia, trillions. Oh, yes. AOC at the rally for Mamdani yesterday. Cut 3, please. Go.
We are not the crazy ones, New York City.
No, yes, you are. Crazy like bat crap. Go ahead.
We are not the outlandish ones, New York City. They want us to think we are crazy. We are sane.
Isn't this a weird speech, Mr. Medusa? I mean, you get up and say, we're not the crazy ones. We're not the crazy ones. We're the sane ones. Go ahead.
To demand an affordable and decent housing.
I have an idea. You want affordable and decent housing? Get off your fat ass and earn a living. That's how you get affordable and decent housing. No offense. It's called working for a living. My problem is that part of the new generation, or the younger generation, certainly not conservatives, they understand, but so many of others, they think their birth is a birthright to not having to work hard for something. Many of you are listening to me, truckers, blue-collar workers, cops, firefighters. Many of you, electricians and plumbers. Yes, teachers. Good teachers, not the other ones. Bricklayers, construction workers. I can go on and on and on. You get up in the morning, you go to work, you do your job, you may not even love it, you come home. That's how you get a house. That's how you put food on the table. If you expect the government to create it, that means those same people, you, Mr. and Mrs. America I'm talking about, you're not only taking care of yourself, your own family, your own home, your own car, you're doing it for the freeloaders. The people on the dole who say you, Mr. and Mrs. America, some reason you owe them, that they don't have to work for it. And then you're trashed as bigots. After your city's attacked, you're trashed as bigots. And they want to take your home away from you. Everybody's going to get free public transportation, which means no maintenance, no cleanliness, homeless, drug addicts, crime. At the same time, the cops are handcuffed rather than the criminals, so nobody will be there to respond. And then you'll have your source prosecutors who only prosecute those who defend the innocent, not those who are perpetrators. I'm telling you. They're going to get the system. We are the system. Capitalism is the system. We're the system. New York City works because you work. More people are going to come to New York City who are illegal aliens for freebies. More homeless are going to leave and come to New York City for freebies. More drug addicts are going to come because the drug laws won't be enforced. Prostitution's going to run rampant, meaning women are going to be abused and sold into sex slavery because this jackass believes in legalizing prostitution. In other words, the third world. But not even the good aspects of the third world. The underbelly of the third world. Because don't you know we deserve it? We're colonialists and imperialists. The vast majority of you to whom I am speaking come from families that immigrated legally to the United States. They were required, your ancestors, to demonstrate their loyalty to the United States. They were required to demonstrate that they wouldn't be on welfare, that they would work in the United States. They were required to learn the language and know the language and embrace the country. That's not what's happening today. is it? Quite the opposite. We don't need lectures from these punks who've created nothing, who've done nothing about hard work. We don't need lectures from them about free groceries. We don't want free groceries. We want to be able to pay for our groceries. We don't want free transportation. We want a clean, healthy, secure transportation system. You don't get that for free. We don't want some 34-year-old now punk, an Islamist, Marxist, ruining everything that's been built over hundreds of years in New York City. One generation after another, one ethnic group after another, and now it really is a melting pot to have some guy come along and light a match. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, I have a question for you. Do you believe America's best days are still ahead? With the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence coming up in less than a year, my friends at the Heritage Foundation are taking stock of the current situation, and they need your input. They've launched a survey on America's future to gauge how Americans feel right now about where we are as a nation and where we're headed in the next 250 years. You know, for decades, your American values have been under attack, but now, with President Trump's administration in office, we have an opportunity to turn the tide and usher in a new golden age for America. But the Heritage Foundation needs to hear from you. What policies do patriots like you most care about? What do you believe are the defining principles of America? What legacy do you believe we should pass on to the next generation? Please visit heritage.org/Levin today and share your feedback and help shape the future of America. That's heritage.org/LEVIN. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation. We don't have a ton of time remaining this hour, which flew by. We will have the speaker on, what time, Rich? At 7:30 Eastern Time. And there's a lot to talk to about this government shutdown, quote unquote. But before I do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about Gavin Newsom. He wants desperately to be president. Look what he's done to California. Many people have argued, I've argued, that California used to be the greatest state in the country. The most vibrant, the most economically advantageous. If you wanted to be an entrepreneur, people would say, go west, go to California. Had a great tax system, was very low after Reagan and Duke Majan and P. Wilson. And the schools were exceptional, particularly the colleges and universities. It was known for the top educational system. And on top of that, such a beautiful, beautiful state where people would want to build their homes. Now the homes burned down and the state won't even let people rebuild. Can't even get water in the hydrants. There's absolutely no forestry taking place in any significant way. You have these cabals, environmental cabals and teachers' unions and others that run everything. It's a one-party state. It's effectively bankrupt. They're broke, despite the highest taxes in the country, and this man wants to be president of the United States. On top of everything else, he is a serial liar. He is a crackpot. He is a buffoon. He's an incompetent, and he's a serial liar. And I'm going to prove it to you when we return. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 1-877-381-3811. You're not going to like what I'm reading, but I'm reading this now out loud from the New York Post to get the attention of all the Republicans and Democrats and independents in New Jersey if you want to save your state. Okay? This just broke, 5:58 p.m. Eastern Time. New Jersey Democrats continue outpacing Republican early votes in positive sign for Mikey Sherrill. Now, of course, Jack Ciattarelli, I think, can still win, may still win. But I'm about turning out the vote here. I'm about the mission. I'm not one of the pom-pom boys or girls that you'll see on TV or hear on radio. We got this thing locked up. Yeah, we got this thing. It's never locked up till it's locked up. New Jersey Democrat voters are outpacing the Republican peers in early voting turnout, writes the New York Post, which is boding well for gubernatorial candidate Representative Mikey Sherrill, with just over a week out from election. Of the roughly 635,000 mail-in ballots and in-person early votes in New Jersey, 57% were registered Democrats, 26% Republicans, 17% had another party affiliation. Now you might say, well, there's a reason for that. I don't care. Just turn out and vote in big numbers. You know, we never get any credit on this program for turning out the vote, but we turn out more voters than anybody. Anybody. Radio, podcast, TV, anybody. That's a better outlook than Republican Jack Ciattarelli had at the end of early voting in 2021, when 58% were Democrats, 22% Republicans, 20% had another affiliation. But the GOP still has a roughly 202,000 raw vote gap with Democrats, and initial in-person voting trends are only worsening Republican margin. Now, keep in mind, he's going to need Democrat votes. So this doesn't mean the outcome is for the Democrat. But it would be a hell of a lot better if more Republicans were voting. I'm just being honest. We're starting to see a narrowing of the viable paths available to Republicans, says Micah Rasmussen. And this is not to throw a wet blanket. This is to fire you up. Some Republicans have taken solace in the fact that oftentimes their voters are skittish with in-person voting. But Ciattarelli's campaign has pushed his voters to cast their ballots early. Rasmussen also explained Democrats have voted Republicans on Election Day by 140,000. Now, the Democrats are going to outvote the Republicans. Again, I say that it's an important point, but even more than that, what's important is that the Republicans turn out. That's the base for this candidate. He's a Republican. And you Democrats who are voting, I'm hoping you're conservative Democrats. I'm hoping you've had enough of high taxes and high energy bills and enough of this Islamist Marxist bullcrap. I sure as hell hope so. Now, this guy Newsom is a liar. He's a fraud. He's an incompetent buffoon. And he was on a podcast. I wrote it down here somewhere. But what the hell? Oh, All the Smoke. I don't know what that means. We think we know what that means, but nonetheless, All the Smoke podcast. And here in part is what Governor Loser said. Go.
And it was just like hustling. But also, you know, it was also about paying the bills, man. And it was just like hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, started, you know, just getting obsessed, you know, sitting there with the, you know, the Wonder Bread and 5 stacks of,
it's like the White Stack 5 story.
Come on. Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Are you talking about me?
Yo, YG.
YG,
but
man.
Every day in the backyard, just bouncing the basketball.
One of the guys. Gavin Newsom's story, writes the New York Post, about hustling to pay the bills, raised his eyebrows given his family's ties to billionaire heir. Governor Newsom's characterization of his humble origins are raising eyebrows. During a recent appearance on the All the Smoke podcast, Newsom recounted how his mother, who divorced from his father when he was young, hustled when he was growing up. My mom was 19, pregnant, and divorced a few years later with 2 kids. He said on the podcast, came from no money and just hustled, you know, worked hard, grinding every single day, 2.5 jobs, no bull S. We had roommates all the time because she couldn't afford the rent. It was also about paying the bills, man. It was just like hustling. Boy, he likes that word. And I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, just getting obsessed. What does that mean, Rich? I was out there raising myself, turning on the TV. If you're out there raising yourself, you're working at McDonald's, you're doing whatever you have to do. I was sitting there with the Wonder Bread, the macaroni and cheese. Throughout his career, Newsom has told similar hardscrabble stories, implying he grew up in poverty or in the lower echelons of the middle class, seeking to be more relatable to voters. Over the summer, for example, he claimed to have slept on the couch and that his sister slept in a hallway because his mother had to rent out the spare bedroom. But skeptics have pointed out that Newsom's late father, William, a former Associate Justice of the California Court of Appeals, served as a highfalutin attorney for Getty's billion-dollar fortune. William was so involved with the Gettys that he helped deliver the ransom payment in response to the kidnapping of John Paul Getty III. The elder Newsom previously explained that he was limited in helping out Gavin's mother financially due to his costly run for the Senate in 1968. I made a foolish mistake of putting my own money in it and losing, he said, according to a 2003 San Francisco article. I had a huge deficit when it was over. I lost my law practice in the process. Things were unraveling. It took me quite a while to pull myself out financially. Tessa was working a number of jobs. Gavin had jobs after school. He later added, I was around people of wealth, but I never had any money, nor did Gavin. Yet, after Gavin graduated from Santa Clara University, he started a boutique winery, Plump Jack Group, with Getty's financial backing. He started a winery with Getty's financial backing right after graduating college. Anyone with more than an inch of curiosity would know that Governor Newsom was raised by his mother after her divorce from his father when he was 3 years old, a Newsom spokesman said. He's talked about moving between two different worlds, but he was raised by a mother who worked 3 jobs at one point, secretary, waitress, and paralegal. Notably, Newsom attended kindergarten and first grade at École Notre Dame de Victorias, a Catholic school. In August, Newsom trolled Vice President J.D. Vance, showing off a stylish photo purportedly of him in high school wearing a fancy scarf juxtaposed with a throwback picture of the VP in high school wearing a bland T-shirt, standing next to women posed in front of urinals. There you have it. I don't care how he grew up, poor, wealthy. He's a disaster. A disaster. I can't imagine this man as president. What a disaster that would be. It would be an embarrassment. I mean, what he's done to the state of California. He's not the only one. But what these Democrats have done to the state of California, you know, there's your Petri dish. Pretty damn big one. The most prosperous state, the wealthiest state, low taxes, respect for law and order, the best colleges and universities in the country. And I go on and on and on. Look at the beauty of that state. There's not another state like it. They're beautiful states, but that state is remarkable. And look what he did to it. He turned it into a disaster, into a third world country. Open borders, economic dislocation, massive redistribution of wealth, massive taxation. You've got these factions that control everything, radical environmentalists, radical teachers' unions. You've got wokeism, the destruction of the culture. Handcuffing police. What a disaster this man has created. Giving out commercial truck licenses to people who can't speak the language and are getting other people killed. Oh, that's okay. Look what he did during the pandemic. He was one of the most iron-fisted gubernatorial dictators with these outrageous rules that he put in place, and contradictory, too. Oh, remember he went out for that wonderful meal when people weren't allowed to go out for meals? Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
There's a reason I'm proud to say Pure Talk is my wireless company, because they don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk, especially when it comes to supporting our veterans. This month, Pure Talk is choosing to support Canines for Warriors, an incredible organization that rescues and trains dogs, then pairs them with veterans struggling with PTSD. These are men and women who serve with honor, but when they come home, their brotherhood and support network they had in the military too often disappears. Canines for Warriors steps up to fill the gap, giving these heroes purpose, companionship, and healing. That's exactly why Pure Talk, a veteran-led company, supports them. Choose a wireless company that shares your values, and with talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, you could also be saving a ton of money. Go to puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch today. Again, go to puretalk.com/LEVIN and switch to America's wireless company, my wireless company, Pure Talk. I see our buddy Catarlson did an interview with Nick Fuentes. Was slobbering all over him. Like two long-lost romantic lovers. What do you think of that, Mr. Producer? Two peas in a pod? Here's my question. Those two are lowlives. They are. They've exposed themselves. They're happy about it. They're bigots, they're racists, they're punks. What about the people who don't call them out? What about the people who don't call them out, that play footsie with them? Doesn't that trouble you folks? Troubles me a lot. I'm going to spend more time exposing those people, too, at the beginning of the year. Calling them out by name. And they're free to come on this program and duke it out with me. Because I want you to hear from them. I want you to hear who the liberal media promote. And I'll tell you what else is amazing to me. The complete lack of guts by political leadership in failing to call these people out. In fact, embracing them. Embracing them. And because I call out these little bastards, because I think they are horrific for the nation, for the country, and they're horrific for our culture, and horrific for the future of this country. The people who embrace them, or the people who give them cover, or the people who don't mind being seen with them and having them on their podcasts and so forth and so on, view me as the controversial one. Have you noticed that, Mr. Producer? So I'm controversial for defending the country, for defending our principles, our faiths, our beliefs and values, by calling these people out, who are nothing but podcasters, most of them, or subscription-based broadcasters as such. Because you're always going to be able to track a few million or maybe several million people to this message. It's a message of despondence. It's a message of darkness. It's a message that is a lie and distorted. But it is a message that makes money. And to be a big fish in a little pond is good enough for them. They abuse their audience, but they attract the audience with the kinds of things they say. There's nothing new about what they're doing. Nothing. They just polish it up. And then they try and seize America first, when it has nothing to do with America first. They don't even love their own country. How do you love America when you spew this stuff? So I will continue to call out, and even more so. That will be my New Year's resolution. People by name, both those who acquiesce to it and in a position to do something about it, at least to fight it like I do, and so forth. When you're faced with this, and oh, this guy's confused. No, he's not confused. He's a coward. Oh, but she's friends, you know. She's not going to buckle to AIPAC. It has nothing to do with AIPAC. I'm no great fan of AIPAC. I never have, even before all these blithering idiots are out there talking about AIPAC. Who cares? It's what else is said and the kinds of guests you have on. Excuse me. It would never occur to me to bring somebody on this program who would smear African Americans. It would never occur to me to bring somebody on this program who would smear Catholics. It would never occur to me to bring somebody on this program who would smear gay people. It would never occur to me to bring on anybody who does anything like that. It would never occur to me to bring on people who lie about our history and world history. It would never occur to me to do any of that. Because Russia's number one rule was treat your audience with respect. But these other guys and gals have a different view. I see one of them as actually expanding her business model. To do what? To do what? And I ask you, what have any of these people done? The Reagan Revolution, the Tea Party Revolution, Convention of States. Even for Donald Trump, the vast majority of them, you can read their texts, you can hear how they campaigned before they decided they wanted power and they wanted a part of the man. Look, many of us didn't support Trump in the 2016 primary. We supported Ted Cruz or others who we knew. President Trump once said to me, how come you didn't support me early on? I said, because I didn't know who you were. You'd been a liberal, a Democrat, a Reform Party member, and so forth and so on. That's why. But when he got the nomination, I was all in because I knew we had to win. And he called me several times and he explained his belief system to me. He gave that speech at Gettysburg. Everything I'm telling you I did on the radio. 100% transparent. Yes, Mr. Producer? Every step of the way, I explained it. He came on the program and explained it. Never any animosity. But these people I'm talking about now, these are hateful, vile demagogues. I don't know how they look themselves in the mirror, but they do. And they're playing to the most base aspects of the human character. And they want to. They're dragging down the youth in this country, in my view. They're depressing the youth in this country, in my view, especially male youth. They're attacking the system while pretending to be defending the system. They're giving aid and comfort to the Marxists and the Islamists, to enemy countries overseas. This is a very dangerous lot. I'll be right back. There's a reason I'm proud to say Pure Talk is my wireless company, because they don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk, especially when it comes to supporting our veterans. This month, Pure Talk is choosing to support Canines for Warriors, an incredible organization that rescues and trains dogs, then pairs them with veterans struggling with PTSD. These are men and women who serve with honor, but when they come home, their brotherhood and support network they had in the military too often disappears. Canines for Warriors steps up to fill the gap, giving these heroes purpose, companionship, and healing. That's exactly why Pure Talk, a veteran-led company, supports them. Choose a wireless company that shares your values, and with talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, you could also be saving a ton of money. Go to puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch today. Again, go to puretalk.com/LEVIN and switch to America's wireless company, my wireless company, Pure Talk.
Mark Levin, The thunder on the right. Call in now, 877-381-3811.
We're here with our friend, Speaker Mike Johnson, really a great man. Mr. Speaker, I see the evolving change in the propaganda by the Democrats. All of a sudden, they're the saviors of the healthcare system, Obamacare. They created Obamacare. They're destroying our healthcare system. They drove up the premiums. They drove up the subsidies. They used the pandemic to massively expand it and increase it. And now the impact's being felt because Obamacare is a complete failure. And their answer to you is, you either vote to massively fund Obamacare, not just have a vote, you even provide us with the outcome that we want, or we're not going to open the government. My question to you is this. Do they have some kind of health care reform bill that they would like to show the whole nation other than just keep talking about centralizing government-run health care and eliminate private care for employees and so forth?
No, absolutely not. Thanks for having me on, Mark. They want to double down, triple down on this failed program. They're subsidizing it because it doesn't work. When the government subsidizes something, it means that it is failing. And you and I both know the original intent of Obamacare was to have it collapse upon itself. The architects of it always favored single payer. They want the government to be in charge of all health care. And they knew that this would be a route to that. What's happening right now was always inevitable, which is why no Republican ever voted for any provision of that. They did it to themselves. Some of them did it intentionally, and they knew it would come to this. So their solution now is keep throwing more money at a bad program, and it's failing the people. The costs have gone up 60% since Obamacare was created in 2010, and it's only going to get worse.
And you want to do something about it, and the president does, and the Republicans do, and the sooner you can get back to appropriating funds in the normal way, you will address this, correct?
That's exactly right. And I said in the press conference today, the only party that has any plan to fix health care, to make it more affordable, to increase access and increase the quality of care is the Republican Party. It's not the Democrats, because they're going to turn this over to the government. That was always the objective, and it's going to fail the people. So we have many plans. We have many ideas, many provisions, and it's not just talk, Mark. We're doing it. In the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, we put in real institutional reforms to Medicaid. Why? Because that was the lowest hanging fruit, because Medicaid is rife with fraud. We went in and weeded out. We eliminated the fraud, waste, and abuse. We got ineligible enrollees off the program, and we got able-bodied young men without dependents, for example, back to work. And what that has done is it's strengthened the program. It's saved it for the people who desperately really do need it and are entitled to it. It's young pregnant women, for example, the disabled, the elderly. And those resources were being drained because ineligible people were using it. We fixed that. We have ideas like that to tighten up and shore up healthcare and make it more affordable and accessible to people. We're the ones that can do it, not the Democrats. So don't listen to the talking points. They don't have any good ideas. They never have on this. They want the government to control all of our lives. And Exhibit A is the Mamdani Express in New York City.
I just want the audience to understand what the Democrats want to do here is to force the Congress under Republican control and a Republican president to massively centralize health care with these massive subsidies. They're not looking to reform anything. And then you got a guy like Chris Coons who pretends he's some kind of moderate, and he's out there saying this is our moment to leverage. We've got to focus on changing health care. Wasn't it just 6 weeks ago they were focused on making sure that illegal aliens got health care, Mr. Speaker?
No, they still are. Remember, that is still the counter offer that's on the table. I mean, they filed this back in mid-September. They denied the Clean CR, which was simply, as we've all discussed, a simple 7-week stopgap measure. Just keep everything at status quo, which, by the way, Mark, we hate because it's Biden-level spendings and policies. That is all still in place until we get our appropriations bills finished. We ran out of time on the clock because the end of the fiscal year was September 30th. We just needed a few more weeks. And so we passed the Clean CR. Every Democrat, every single one of them, voted for CRs over and over and over and gave impassioned speeches that had to be done. They did it 13 times into the 4 years of the Biden administration. And so when we put it on the floor, they rejected it, and their counterproposal was exactly as you said. They wanted to spend. This is their condition. This is their ransom for keeping the government open to work for the people. They want to spend $1.5 trillion additional dollars in totally partisan spending demands, and that includes, you said it, They want to reinstate free health care benefits for illegal aliens to the tune of about $200 billion. They want to spend $500 million to prop up liberal news outlets. They want to spend billions of dollars in wasteful foreign country spending on all sorts of social programs. All the stuff that we cut out of the budget in the big, beautiful bill, they demanded to put it back in. They know we're not going to do that. It never was possible. And so they decided to shut the government down because they calculated one thing overall. They're more afraid of the rise of the Marxist radicals in their party than they are hardworking American people, because they believe the Marxists and the radicals will bring more pressure to bear than the people themselves. And so they decided to shut the government down to give themselves cover with the radical left so they can keep their jobs. That's what all this is about at the end of the day.
First of all, I want to congratulate you. I've been pushing forever for people to use the right word, Marxists. Oh, they're socialists. Oh, they're progressive. No, they're Marxists. They're an Americanized Marxist movement. That's where they get these ideas from. And you're like the only one, or certainly among the very few who gets it and says it. It's very important we call people what they are, whether they want to be called it or not. Let me ask you this. Where do these people think they're going to go with this? You now have effectively the Federal Employees Union, or one of the big ones, saying, just pass the clean continuing resolution. And the clean continuing resolution, America, means current spending, current programs, just move on so we can get down to business, and then we'll focus on other things like health care. So that the union has now said, pass it, correct? American Federation of Government Employees?
Yeah, they did, and that's 800,000 federal employees. It's a big voice because they've had enough of the nonsense. So they understand the Democrats are just purely playing a political game right now, and they have said, everybody knows in their own words, they've admitted it. They said the quiet parts out loud. They're using this moment for leverage, and Chuck Schumer himself said, every day of the shutdown gets better for us. Who's the us? He's talking about himself. They're the Democrats who run Washington because they are afraid they're going to be run out of town by Marxist challengers. You know that Chuck Schumer is going to get a challenge from AOC or somebody like her in New York. Hakeem Jeffries is going to get a challenge from one of Mamdani's disciples on the city council there, and they're going to do everything they can to kick these career politicians out of their seats. So they care about that far more than they care about anything else. And that is the explanation for everything that we're seeing right now. It's really infuriating.
They don't want to fund our military personnel, our TSA personnel, or FAA personnel. I mean, these really are essential employees and so forth. I mean, this is a kamikaze party. I guess they just don't care. What do you do with a party that doesn't give a damn?
Well, it's an unprecedented thing. I mean, this truly is, they're making history in all the wrong ways for all the wrong reasons. This is the first time in the history of the country that any party has chosen to shut the government down over a totally clean CR, a nonpartisan measure. They don't care. They have evaluated that they have to do this because they cannot face the radical base in their party any longer, and we're all made to suffer because of it. You have real harm, real hardship being experienced by real people across the country. And it's not just federal workers. It's not just troops and TSA agents and Border Patrol agents and, air traffic controllers and all the rest, the people that we rely upon to keep us all safe. It's also small business owners. It's the people that provide the jobs in every community across the country. Many of them work in many ways on government contracts. All that has been shut down. This is real harm for real people. And on November 1st, the SNAP benefits dry up. That means food and nutrition programs, food stamps we used to call them.
I was just going to make it clear to the audience. That's food stamps. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's food stamps, yes. 42 million people rely upon food stamps right now. And those programs are drying up because the money doesn't exist to fund it. The Democrats have done that, Mark. This is so clear. Republicans have voted 13 times between the House and the Senate to open the government, and the Democrats have voted 13 times to keep it closed. They are putting their own self-interest, their political futures, ahead of the needs of the American people, and we should never forget it.
My concern is, Mr. Speaker, maybe in the Senate, that you'll get a couple of Republicans who say that's enough. They'll start to buckle. You've heard a few in the House, a few of the whack jobs in particular. And so it doesn't take many, and then we're off to the races in some kind of massive increase in government control over health care, no?
Well, we're going to hold the line. I mean, I am heartened to tell you that the Senate Republicans, House Republicans are are completely aligned on this. The White House, the president, I talk with them every day about this. There's no daylight between us. The Republican Party is more unified than it's ever been. And we're going to hold the line because we know we are doing the right thing for the American people. It has never been more clear. And at the same time, you're seeing a stronger contrast between the two parties than you've ever seen before. I mean, there's always been a difference, and you've been writing about this for years and pointing out the distinctions, but the chasm now is so wide, Mark. They're out in the open. They are Marxist, and they're running as such. You know, they used to try to hide it, but they don't anymore. And you look at the split screen. I mean, look at President Trump and the Republican Party delivering for the American people. I mean, we're solving the problems. We've cut their taxes. We're streamlining and cutting regulations to get the economy going again. We solved the border crisis. We're solving the crime crisis. We're cutting fraud, waste, and abuse out of government, and President Trump is solving wars around the globe, bringing peace through strength again. And what do you see on the split screen? The Democrats. We did everything I just described in the last 9 months. You know what they've done? Shut the government down. I mean, it's such a contrast, and everybody can see it. And there is no way for them to argue out of what they've done.
Now, you were a litigator for conservative causes, and you used to listen to conservative talk radio. Isn't that correct?
I did, and I learned a lot of what I know from listening to you, my friend.
Now, what's the main town in your district?
Shreveport, Louisiana. Yeah.
Shreveport, Louisiana. Yeah.
Yep. Northwest corner of the state. God's country.
God's country. Well, I haven't been to God's country, but then again, I haven't been to most of the country, to be perfectly honest with you. Well, Mr. Speaker, keep up the fight. You have air support from this audience, that's for sure, and we're very appreciative of what you're doing. I know it's not fun, but it's important. So God bless you, my friend.
Well, same to you, my friend. Thanks for the inspiration and the lessons over the years. It all comes to a head right now, so keep going.
Amen. You take care of yourself. He is a truly fine, decent man and a principled movement conservative. He's all those things. He's all those things. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
There's a reason I'm proud to say Pure Talk is my wireless company, because they don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk, especially when it comes to supporting our veterans. This month, Pure Talk is choosing to support Canines for Warriors, an incredible organization that rescues and trains dogs, then pairs them with veterans struggling with PTSD. These are men and women who serve with honor, but when they come home, that brotherhood and support network they had in the military too often disappears. Canines for Warriors steps up to fill the gap, giving these heroes purpose, companionship, and healing. That's exactly why Pure Talk, a veteran-led company, supports them. Choose a wireless company that shares your values, and with talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, you could also be saving a ton of money. Go to puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch today. Again, go to puretalk.com/LEVIN and switch to America's wireless company, my wireless company, Pure Talk. You know, I look around America, we have such a dearth of statesmen. Seriously, you just heard a real statesman, Mike Johnson. But I mean, look around. Seriously. You've got, on the Democrat side, it's truly embarrassing. Who is their statesman? They don't have one. Who is their leader? I don't mean leader by the choice of the other munchkins. I mean a real leader. They don't have any. And don't give me Mamdani and AOC. They're not leaders. They're propagandists. They're demagogues. We have a very strong bench, particularly when it comes to governors. We really do. People keep asking Trump who he wants for president. You know, he never really endorses, but he says, or he said today, JD and then Rubio's VP, that would be an unbeatable team. I have a different view of these things. You got to earn it. And that's why we were so condemnatory of Kamala Harris. You don't inherit the presidency. You don't inherit the nomination. You got to fight for it. And that's a good thing. Why is that a good thing? Even though we'll have our favorites, and I'll have mine, and I'll announce it at the time. Because all the imperfections, all the defects, all the problems come out in the course of the primary, and that's very important. Alliances, people who've supported you, what you've said in the past, what you've done in the past, all that stuff matters. All that stuff matters because the other party's going to use it. So it also matters what's important to you. You know, we have governors who've done incredible things. We have senators who've done incredible things. We have others who've done incredible things. You understand. But nobody's going to inherit it. And that's not a put down of the VP or anybody else. Nobody inherits seats. That's the way it is. Not in America. Except if you're a Democrat. We're not Democrats. Certainly not in this Democrat Party. The Power Hour is next. We'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. You know, there's a guy out there. I never met him. I never talked to him. I get a text from this person, Mr. Producer. And I'm more than happy to help with the book. Good guy, this person. And I said, okay, the things we can do, things I'm not able to do under contractual arrangements, but other things I can do. And we haven't heard from him again. Isn't that strange, Mr. Producer? That's a first. I mean, I don't really care. Honestly, I'm just trying to be a nice guy. But just weird. This job is weird sometimes. It really is. But I love it. Why? Because I love talking to you. I love talking to you. I got a beautiful little letter from an 11-year-old who called this program. And I think at the break I'll go grab it and read it to everybody. Because one thing I know is this. For people who listen or people who read what I write or whatever, it's important to treat them, that is you, Mr. and Mrs. America, with respect. So you know that I do care about what you're saying and thinking. I would want my parents treated with respect, my wife, our kids, grandkids treated with respect. And so that's what I do. Unless somebody's very rude, then I respond as I would with anybody else. But you get the point. It's just strange to reach out to me, person I've never met. Again, I admire him. And then not to hear a word back. Very weird. Speaking of weird, we have a Senator Ruben Galeo of Arizona. Guy's a left-wing kook. Real smear merchant. I'm no fan of this guy. And, you know, I'd say 20, 25 years ago, he couldn't get elected from Arizona, even though Arizona every now and then went Democrat. It was mostly Republican, but it certainly never went left-wing kook, and this guy's left-wing kook. And part of the reason for this is the Democrats destroyed California, and then they leave. And they move into states like Nevada and Arizona, more and more moving into places like Tennessee and Texas. I'm not talking about the patriots. I'm talking about the people who destroy their state and then leave. I call them locusts. These are locusts. Like some of them will vote for Mamdani and then leave New York. Locusts. Anyway, here's this Ruben Galeo, and he's on CNBC with Joe Kernan. Now, I don't know Joe Kernan. I don't watch a lot of CNBC, but from the clips that I see from time to time, he's solid. Seems like a good guy to me. Well, let's listen to this interchange on CNBC today. Cut 10, go.
What's in the $1.5 trillion? You could do it for 10 years, Senator, for $345 billion. What's in the $1.5 trillion that Democrats are demanding to open the government? And this is unheard of.
We're not demanding anything. This is just a Republican talking point. All I want is for the ACA to be extended for Americans. So 24 million people do not get their premiums.
So hold on now. So see, this is unfortunately what a lot of people don't know who are in this debate, who are questioning these people. I'm not saying Kernan doesn't. I'm just saying a lot of people don't. So I went back and studied it. I discussed this at length Saturday on Life, Liberty, and Levin. I've discussed it with you at length on Friday night. They blew up Obamacare. Obamacare was never going to work. It was supposed to save you $2,500 on your premium. Has your premium gone down $2,500? No. It was passed 12 years ago. Obama's a liar. Biden's a liar. Every Democrat voted for it. They're all liars. And the media are liars, too. We spent a lot of time on this here saying it was an impossibility what they were doing, and it is. The health care sucks. It really does. It's not great. It's hard to see doctors you want to see. It's hard to go to hospitals you want to go to. It's very limited because the government controls your options, pretty much. It determines what you're going to be reimbursed for. The pandemic comes along, what do? They massively expand it and expand the subsidies. The pandemic is over, what do? They massively expanded some more. So the program now is broke. And without hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in new transfers of funds, subsidies, the premiums go way up. Now, this has been known for a long time now. A long time. It was known when Biden was president. What did the Democrats do when Biden was president last year? They had control over the budget process. What did they do? They said, okay, we'll extend these Obamacare subsidies for 1 year, Mr. Producer, 1 year, which takes it to what? September 30th in the calendar year for the government, not the real calendar year. So the Republicans are minding their own business. They passed the president's big, beautiful bill. They save Medicaid in part by taking illegal aliens off of it, and able-bodied Americans required to get jobs like they used to have to get before Biden became president. Nothing extreme, nothing, outrageous. You're a legal alien, you don't get Medicaid. And if you're an able-bodied American, you have to work 20 hours a week or volunteer somewhere 20 hours a week in order to get free health care. So the Democrats want to reverse all that. They want to reverse it. And yes, they want to give illegal aliens health care. What they did is, as I explained here last week and on TV over the weekend, is they changed the nomenclature. So if you're in the parole system, or if you're seeking asylum, or if you have a temporary, maybe 4 or 5 year visa to get a job here, they're calling you legal, even though you're not legal yet. You're illegal. They changed all these rules to make it easier for people to come into the country. They violated federal law, and now they're saying even though these people are illegal and getting benefits and getting to stay, they're not illegal. Millions and millions of them, because they opened the border and brought them in. They flew them in many cases. And it was killing the Medicaid system. Trump said, no, we're not doing this. Follow the law. No changing of the nomenclature and the language. You're off of Medicaid. You got 20 hours a week. Work it or volunteer it, or you're off of Medicaid too. We're going to bring this back to normalcy the way it was before Biden and the pandemic. The Democrats want to reverse all that and put it back. So Obamacare is imploding. They're the ones who put the 1 year increase and not just 1 year limit on the subsidies on it. The Republicans are doing the budget process, a continuing resolution, clean they call it, which means no change in spending, no change in borrowing, no change in taxing, no change in program. Let's get through this budget process. Then when we're through, we'll take up a whole lot of issues, including health care. And the Democrats say, no, you either come up with hundreds of billions of dollars and subsidize our failed Obamacare program, which we Democrats blew up. It's imploding. We insist that you put hundreds of billions of dollars in there. And we insist that you put illegal aliens back on Medicaid and able-bodied Americans back on Medicaid. This is what they're doing, whether they lie or not. This is what they're doing. And then there's other things they're doing. They want to give money back to government broadcasting, to PBS and NPR and other things like that. And the Republicans are saying, we're not spending this $1.5 trillion. We'll tackle health care, which you Democrats blew up. And you heard the speaker last hour, an hour ago, tell you we have many plans to do this, but we got to get through this shutdown process. So Kernan is putting this so-called Senator Galeo, or whatever the hell his name is, on the line, and he's saying, Galeo, what's in this $1.5 trillion? Well, we got the ACA. They don't want to call it Obamacare anymore. To extend to America 24 million people who do not get their premiums doubled. Well, why are they doubled, jerk? Because you doubled them. But go ahead.
For how long? I don't care. We could do a CR. We could keep it as long as we can negotiate with the Republicans. If the Republicans can come up with a good plan that is, again, does not get permanency, I think that's gone. Look, Republicans control the government.
Republicans don't control the government. The truth is, with the filibuster right now, the Democrats control the Senate. Because if you can't get 60 votes, you can't get anything done. So the Republicans have been voting, 55 of them, 53 of them rather, with a couple of Democrats, to go forward with this appropriations process, the continuing resolution. And the Democrats are using their minority status and the filibuster in ways that hasn't been used before. And so when they say the Republicans control, they're lying to you again. They're deceiving you again. Yes, there's 53 Republicans. They have a majority, but there's not 60. And so when the Democrats hold back votes, the Republicans can't get anything done. That's what's happening. Go ahead.
Senate and the House of Representatives, I have to actually deal with that reality. But what I want to make sure is that Americans do not suddenly get a huge bill starting January 1st.
No, you don't. The Democrats voted last year for a 1-year extension. That's all you did. Not a 5-year, not a 10-year. The Democrats blew up Obamacare because they do not want to reduce the number of people who are on it. They increased the number of people who are on it. That's number two. Number three, the Republicans said, we want to deal with this too. These are our constituents too that have to pay these premiums. But Bernie Sanders is saying, no, it's our way or the highway. It's not enough to have a vote. It's not enough for you Republicans to have 14 different plans. It's my plan. Centralized government or no plan. And that plan takes many of you who have employee-subsidized insurance and like it, it takes you off that plan, sticks you in Obamacare, where you're going to drown. And it's the Republicans who are protecting you and saying, no, we're not going to do that. Got it? I don't know how clearer I can be. Then we have more morons like Stephen Horsford. The hell is that? Another schmuck. Democrat from Nevada. Cut 11, go.
The House of Representatives has not voted since September 19th. Speaker Johnson...
They don't have to vote. Who is this moron? Who's this low IQ moron? They haven't voted since September. They already voted. They passed the continuing resolution. What do you mean they haven't voted? They were the first to finish their work. They got the continuing resolution over to the Senate. Now it's being blocked. Go ahead.
And because of that, we are dealing with cruelty.
All right, this guy's barely literate. I don't know who the hell this guy is. So it's Speaker Johnson's fault for getting the continuing resolution out on time, getting it to the Senate. This guy says Johnson's missing in action. He's cruel. He's incompetent. This guy's, he's 10 IQ points short of being in the positive. Let's do one more. Margaret Brennan. No fan of Margaret Brennan at all. She's awful. But she actually had a question out of her mouth to Hakeem Jeffries, even though she played softball with him later. Cut 12, go.
You said Democrats, there are no election deniers on our side of the aisle. You said that back in January. But recently, you've been using the term rigged elections in reference to the upcoming midterms. Democrats were appalled when President Trump used language like that. How do you justify using that now? Doesn't that undermine faith for voters? You need to show up.
No, I've been using that term in the context of Donald Trump's unprecedented effort to gerrymander congressional
maps. Hakeem Jeffries is a liar, and he'll always be a liar, and he'll always known to be a liar. The Democrats gerrymandered Illinois so bad that Republicans were way underrepresented. Newsom gerrymandered the one-party state in California, just like in Illinois, horrendously gerrymandered California, right? 53, 52, 54 seats. The Republicans got 9. Illinois, the Republicans got, I think, 3 or 4. In Massachusetts, the Republicans have 0. 35 to 40% of the people in Massachusetts voted for Trump. They do not have a single Republican congressman. And they do this in these blue states. So Texas said that's enough. We're the biggest of the Republican states. We're pushing back. Some of the other states said that's enough. We're pushing back too. So this is Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries is a psycho. He is a serial liar. When Representative Mike Lawler got in his face, it was one of the best discussions I ever saw because it wasn't even a discussion. Lawler's trying to discuss facts, and there's Hakeem Jeffries. He doesn't know crap. Don't you get in my face. Don't tell me what to do. You be quiet. You shut up. What? Anyway, let's see here. Continue, please.
Fashion all across the country in order to rig the midterm elections and deny the ability of the American people to actually decide who should be in the majority as it relates to the House of Representatives.
Democrats are also going through gerrymandering and redistricting.
No. Well, Democrats are going to push back.
You believe this guy? That's enough. Push back. You know, the Republicans control more state houses than the Democrats. Did you know that, Mr. Producer? And the Democrats have been playing this game for a long time. And then when the Republicans push back, they claim racism. They run to the courts. They try to get it to the Supreme Court and say, Republicans can't have that district. They're cutting out blacks and so forth. So the Democrats play it both ways. They redistrict Republicans in a way where they don't have a real say in the government. They bring in illegal aliens so they can have more Democrat districts, particularly in the blue states. And then, if the Republicans push back in a more Republican state, they claim racism. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Let's take some calls, shall we? Yes, we can. Let us go to Ianti, Rochester, New York, the great WHAM. How are you?
Thank you for taking my call, and thank you for existing.
Oh, thank you. That's not hard.
This is what a lot of people think.
Yeah.
You know that.
Thank you.
You shouldn't have to be doing this, and you shouldn't have to be doing it alone. There should be a lot of people listening and taking up the cudgel. And Friday, when you had the show, when you had the thing on Teddy Roosevelt, today's Teddy Roosevelt's birthday.
Ah.
How on earth must he feel looking down on what is going on? Now, there were a few things I wanted to say.
Can I be honest with you? My father passed 7 years ago. And my mother, soon it'll be 7 years too. I'll think about 7 years ago. They would not believe what's going on in this country today with the Mamdanis, the anti-Semitism, the anti-Americanism. They wouldn't believe what they're seeing with their own 2 eyes.
It's unbelievable being alive now and seeing it.
It is.
They have turned the First Amendment, both clauses on religion and the First Amendment, they have figured out how to use it against us.
Mm-hmm.
And what went through my mind and made me think to call was, when the founders wrote the Constitution, they weren't thinking about slavery. It wasn't on their radar screen. Later on, at the cost of terrible loss of life of whites and blacks and conscripted Irish soldiers, we fixed it.
Well, I hope we can fix this, because this is a very, very invidious fusion of ideologies that is swallowing up our culture.
They can clone the others, but there's only one Mark Levin, and you can call him at 877-381-3811.
All right, let's go to Linda in Kingman, Arizona, the great KNTR. Linda, how are you?
I'm great, and it's such a pleasure to be able to talk to you.
Thank you, Linda.
A couple of things came to mind. I called in when you started the program talking about Mamdani, and I'm a retired nurse, worked as a nurse for over 30 years, and I worked with many Philippine nurses, and they came from a third world country, and they said, in our country, you don't work, you die. It's as simple as that. In the Philippines, yes. And I think about New York, what he's proposing will not work.
Nope.
Just flat won't work. Just won't work.
And here's the deal. A majority of New Yorkers are not going to vote for him. 45% tops. And because it's a multi-field race, a multiple party race, he can squeeze through. And so the rest of the city is going to pay the price for this. And this is how these bastards always get in. And it's going to be a complete disaster if people don't suddenly turn out and surprise everybody, including the pollsters. And this is going to be a terrible price to pay. And it's going to spread across the country. This is what some of these Republicans, Republics, don't understand. These things don't stay localized. They start to spread and spread and spread, and they already are. All right, Linda, I can't thank you enough. God bless you. I love nurses because they really do a lot of good things. You know, they really help people. I know when I'm in the hospital, nurses are critical. And they're fantastic. Let's continue, shall we? Yes, we can. Let's go to Bill, Rochester, New York, on WHAM. Bill, go right ahead, please.
Pleasure talking with you, Mark. I'm going to say this with a heavy heart. This is regarding your references to the third world vis-a-vis Mamdani, vis-a-vis California. I saw this coming as far back as the late 1980s with this decline toward third world status, the lowering of standards in education, commerce, business, language, citizenship. And I remember a wise man who warned, and I say, and I'm using quotes, that this country was slipping and sliding toward third worldism. Boy, I wish Bob Grant were here.
Can you imagine if we had Bob Grant and Rush Limbaugh still with us? Still, we have these America-hating, Jew-hating, moronic podcasters. It's really too bad that younger people don't get to hear real substance, real smarts. Instead, they hear complete frauds, phonies, and fools. All right, Bill, good call. I appreciate you, buddy. Let's keep rolling here. Let's go to Jennifer, Middleburg, Virginia, the great WMAL. Jennifer, how are you?
Oh, Mark, you need to save us all. This is like, I tuned in when I first heard you talking about Mamdani. Being a former New Yorker, this is just devastating. It's just devastating. And it's not just New York. Come on, we know it's happening here in Virginia. Luckily, that Spamberger, what an idiot she is. But that's what these people are. Now, this guy in New York, he's just like an actor. I think he went to the same school that Obama did. They're paid actors to get out there and be charismatic and pull everybody in. Even somebody's grandmother would vote for this idiot because he's like such a smooth talker. But what is going to happen to New York and the whole rest of the country if people listen to this and follow this? And just one more thing, when he's talking about being the victim, he's Muslim and his family and that made-up aunt is Muslim, and yet he's going to bring about prostitution and illegal drugs. This is to make the rest of the people, the white people, weak, right?
I don't know about white people, but all people. All right, thank you, my friend. You take care of yourself. By the way, there's a local race in my Virginia district. As you know, I'm a resident of Florida, but I'm here from time to time. A delegate who's running who's fantastic. His name is Gary Higgins. And the Democrats have him supporting abortion when women are raped. They have him supporting criminals. They have him doing all kinds of stuff. They lie about these Republicans. It's just horrendous. His name is Gary Higgins. I hope you'll support him. He's a great guy, law and order. He's very responsive to the citizenry and so forth, on taxes, on zoning. He does exactly what a state representative is supposed to do. They're trying to turn him into a monster. In fact, it's gotten so bad, his daughter's now doing commercials out here in Virginia because now they're getting threats on his life as a result of the commercials that the Democrats are running. But they don't care. They could care less. Listen to Hakeem Jeffries every damn day. His name is Gary Higgins, Geary Higgins. I love this guy. He's very, very good, and he'll continue to be good. Don't be fooled by the commercials on TV. They think we're all stupid. Hopefully we're not. Let's go to Lance, our friend Lance in Montana, the great KJJR. Go ahead, Lance, please.
Yeah, hi, Mark.
Yo. Did we lose Lance already? Ooh. All right, it happens. That is Montana. It's a big state. All right, let's pull in one more till the break. Gene in Kansas City, Kansas, the great KCMO. How are you?
Thank you for letting me on your show. Fine. I want to thank you for letting me on your show. I belong to that generation. Hello?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
I belong to
home of the great Richard Hutchison, the president of Landmark Legal Foundation, by the way. Go right ahead.
Yes, I remember a general named Douglas MacArthur who said, "Old soldiers never die; they just fade away."
Yep.
I'm an old soldier, and I took an oath to defend this country and the Constitution of the United States, which is based on a Judeo-Christian heritage.
Yes.
And now we have a Mamdani who's trying to change that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also am aware of politicians who are now in Congress who come in here as refugees, and they turn right around and fight our own Constitution.
Yeah, like Omar. Omar hates this country. She was brought here came here to get away from what was going on in Somalia, and just horrible. Just horrible. You got Talib. She's first or second generation. Her parents come out of the Palestinian areas in the Middle East. She's another. But it's not just them. Look at Bernie Sanders, who was born here. He's an absolute Stalinist. And look at AOC, another disgrace. All right. Thank you for your call, my friend. Much appreciated. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Let's go to Chris, Central Illinois, the great WLS. How are you, Chris?
Hey, Mark, it's great to talk to you. Hey, I've been listening to you for years. I have an hour commute after work, and you are the highlight of my day after I get off work. I have to tell you that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's been at least a dozen years I've been listening to you. But, hey, one thing. So you were talking about gerrymandering. I live in South Central Illinois. I live in the same district as East St. Louis. When they did all this gerrymandering, East St. Louis is a 2-hour and 20-minute drive. It's a 20-mile strip that they put across the state. Mm-hmm. I live on the eastern side near the border, and they put this strip in. It's ridiculous. Nobody in this area.
Who's your congressman?
Illinois, Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And so Illinois gets a bad rap, but it's Chicago. In this area, there's a lot of strong conservative people, Christian values.
Oh, I know. Look, it's like Oregon, Portland, Washington State. I mean, there's a couple other towns too, but Washington State, Seattle, Virginia, Northern Virginia. You know, it's these pockets that are heavily populated that pull the whole damn state.
Yep, it is. Yep, and it's terrible. And the Chicago Teachers Union now, there's downstate school districts which are renegotiating contracts, and they are told that they have to have the influence of Chicago Teacher Union in their negotiation, and people are really upset about that. There's not a lot of people know about that. I mean, there is a lot that goes on in the state. But yeah, when that redistricting, and then you get our governor who gives on the late night show and makes jokes about a kid drawing a crayon, drawing a picture of it. It's like, well, people around here don't think that's funny. So, but
well, he doesn't care about where you live. He just doesn't give a damn because he knows the demographics. Guy's got more money than you can shake a stick at because of his family in the hotel business. He's got nothing in connection with the average person in Chicago, but he's a Democrat. He spends money. They've got a machine, and that's that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Chris, first of all, thank you for listening all these years. It's very kind of you. I appreciate it. There's other callers here. I'm not going to have time to go to you, but I will tell you, most of the people want to talk about... Oh, by the way, Tracy in Mount Laurel, New Jersey says, I just left the Jack Ciattarelli event. Get out and vote. And that is right. Republicans, get out and vote, or that's going to slip away. I want to salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our truckers, the men and women in Ukraine, the men and women in Israel, and you, the American people. God bless you. Kill Hamas. I'll see you tomorrow.